Well, failure to accurately interpret the BIN data really creates direct operational and financial risk. Let's imagine a scenario where you have a debit card being processed over a credit network. The situation here is essentially having a debit product which by the interchange table, which are the tables set by the card scheme that define the fees that is paid to the bank issuing that card, you should attract a lower fee if it's a debit card and a higher fee if it's a credit card. This scenario will be fairly common where you have dual badge cards. So essentially in countries where they have a predominant local scheme, let's say in France with carte bancaire, those cards are issued with the international schemes, Visa, MasterCard, but equally with the local scheme, carte bancaire. If your routing logic is essentially pushing a debit card transaction like a carte bancaire through a Visa network, you will effectively have that transaction process as a credit card. You will simply attract unnecessary fees. Let's look at another practical example. Imagine you have a prepaid card that is being misqualified as a commercial card. Again, this is a fairly common occurrence. Today, there is an emergence of virtual card, gift card, but also cards that are essentially being issued within the gig economy. You essentially face potentially friction that you will introduce to the end user because commercial card typically would have stricter rules. So they may step up the authentication process to ensure that that transaction is essentially legitimized by the end user. But it is not necessary. And that happens because the different issuer may essentially change the attributes of that card. It may be a prepaid card debit for one issuer, or it may be a prepaid card commercial card for another issuer. All of those examples that we covered are fairly common occurrences. They may seem rare, but actually they happen more often than you think. And when that's the case, they really leave significant impact onto the merchant infrastructure. Essentially, they erode the margins, they expose the business to more risk, and most importantly, they also create friction to the customer. BINs are a very complex topic, and there's of course a lot more to say. Hopefully you've enjoyed this first shot. Stay tuned, get in touch, and take a new shot.